Let the chaos.
Chaos Reign presents the GameStop Fiasco. Can Wall Street be trusted? With special guest Cyber7. Broadcast February the 14th, 2021. Enjoy.
The views expressed on Talk Real Solutions, hosted by Tyrone Thompson at TalkRealSolutions.com, are the views of Tyrone Thompson and do not reflect the views of TalkRealSolutions.com, YouTube, or etc. The content here belongs to Talk Real Solutions and its many contributors. Views and opinions expressed by all contributors belong to them and not TalkRealSolutions.com or Tyrone Thompson, the host, or etc. All data and information provided on the site is for informational purposes only. Talk Real Solutions makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, correctness, suitability, or validity of any information on this site and will not be liable for any errors, omissions, or delays in this information or any losses, injuries, or damages arising from its display or use. All information is provided on an as-is basis.
All right. In a world where there's crime, corruption, violence, murder, rape, and all forms of atrocity that plague the world in which we live in today. What you're witnessing, we are living in a state of chaos, and it takes a greater or more extreme chaos to restore the order in which the world we live in today. Hello, people. This is Chaos Reign here. And today, we're going to take a deep look into, events that came about that affect the financial institution of how we look at things. But before we go into details, be so kindly to go to talkworldsolutions.com. Under talkworldsolutions.com, you see a 3-point plan for Black empowerment, Black achievement. Under the 3-point plan, there are a list of variety of things from Black banks. Actually, I don't know what I'm still even talking about today about the website at that point, regardless of what's in it. If y'all not familiar, go check it out yourself. I would say one thing that you'll find on Talk World Solutions that we have some articles, the latest news, commentary, and things that's going on in the world. So all information is on the website. And also, if you like what you see, you could donate as little as $5. The information is on the website itself. So go to talkworldsolutions.com. One thing with Talk World Solutions, I believe I'm going to see if we still have we might still have the channel up on YouTube streaming, but if not, please follow us on Facebook, titled Talk World Solutions. That's where normally most of everything is being broadcast over there without no problem. For some reason, YouTube is being very much iffy now with Talk World Solutions. I'm not sure why it's doing this now. It never gave this problem for the last 2 years. But now, all of a sudden, from end of last year going on this year, we're having problems with a lot of issues. I'm not sure if the content or the people that's on here that's giving the problem why the channel is being acting up. But, like I said, nonetheless, if y'all respect it, y'all know where to find content from my show on here and everybody else that does shows on Talk World Solutions on Facebook. If you find the like page, hit the like button, and if you might be able to join the little private section chat room on Facebook. And it's very intriguing. I mean, it gets very much funny in a way where a lot of dudes, like from the ABCs to Kenneth and all the other cats that be on Talk World Solutions, we talk a lot of smack. And I mean a lot of smack, but, it's all fun and games, We up here sharing what's going on in the world. Certain things we don't view political-wise. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we do have a new one up right now on YouTube, so I had to correct myself. Go to on the YouTube channel as well, type in Talk World Solutions, so, so give us a shot. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we do have a new one up. Okay. It looks like my audio is good. So, we all set, and that's all the information that y'all need to know. So, no further ado, tonight's subject, title, Chaos Reign presents GameStop Fiasco. Can Wall Street be trusted? And what I mean by Wall Street, the big bankers, the pinks and the stock exchange. That type of Wall Street. I have a special guest that I'm going to open up right now. If you're there, bro, press *61 so I can open your line. Let me see if he's there. All right. So I bring none other than, for the first time on Talk World Solutions, the one and only Cyber7. Cyber7, are you there, brother?
I'm there. What's going on, man? Cyberline 7th, everyone.
Oh, Cyberline 7th. Sorry.
Yeah, it's me. I'm the same guy.
Okay. Is my audio feeling good? Is it chippy? Just want to make sure. I'm just trying this again.
No, it sounds pretty good. You sound pretty good. How about myself?
You sound good enough. I can hear you well and clear. All right, Cyber9. Before we step into this discussion, I like to take a step back a moment of time with every guest that comes on here. I like to go in the past, then we jump into present, and eventually, if anything, we go into the future. So for the first time on Talk World Solutions, you could tell the people that's listening for the first time a little bit about yourself.
Well, I appreciate, once again being on. I am the one and only Cyber7. A lot of you have probably, if you listen to Chaos Reign, and Chaos is usually over at Fantastic's house. On this channel, you've seen me on a number of Brother-tastics panels from time to time, at least within last year. I've played maybe a myriad of different sides in terms of conversations. Sometimes I am the devil's advocate. Sometimes I am a proponent for certain things advancing the conversation. And I'm always known to keep it real, to keep it 100, and really don't give 2, 3, or 4 fucks about anything that doesn't have anything to do with not keeping it real. I've taken on and I've gone up against some of the folks in YouTube, Taz exclusives, namely before, but he's a cool guy, no problems with him. And Synthetic, the Eagle G, won't say too much about that. I've also been, known to have a supporting position for brother Kevin Samuels. I do support what that brother was doing. Glad to see that all of that has blown over. As I predicted, it will blow over. He will continue to do what he does, and everybody will do what they do, and everything's just fine. Other than that, I was rocking with the Black Brain Trust. Those are still some good brothers. Channel has changed a lot, but, was over there at Black Brain Trust contributing to some of the good, positive, forward-moving conversations that they had. And in my personal life, I am a software architect, a systems architect, rather, and I am an investor. So, I do invest and dibble and dabble into the financial markets, as well as crypto nowadays. And, early on was an athlete, was a, ball player and a fighter as well. But, we have hung up our gloves for more loftier things and more safer things to lead a long, hopefully prosperous and peaceful life. And now I'm here with you at Chaos Reigns.
Excellent. That's a very lengthy catalog, Cyber9. At times never ask the background, but that's a well laid out background yourself. I'm very pleased. Thank you. And always when people tell the back end story of a lot of people's lives in as short as possible, that before we even understand the subject matter, we always got to get a glimpse of the person. Always, just before we dabble into subjects, because it gives a good background so people know, saying, what he's talking, or any person, man or woman, talking about, at least know that what their credentials, or what do they know that could bring a different element to any conversation. So no one has to really question. It's already laid out, already in advance. So when question time comes, if y'all listen, all that was answered early on. So I appreciate it, brother. Okay, so now on to the subject at hand. Wall Street and this GameStop fiasco. What is some that, from a lot of people that is not aware of, or maybe aware but have no clear understanding, what is it that has not really been talked about when this happened, or what was going on during and after the situation? And before you answer, I'd like to give a note that I was watching on the news a particular young boy committed suicide after he found that when he invested in GameStop that he did not reap the reward like most people if they caught it, and he committed suicide. So it's unfortunate for that gentleman, but
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So to answer the first question, what a lot of people are not aware of is that there are forces in the market that are doing things that most people do not understand that they are doing when they are doing it. And those forces are allowed to do that. They are regulated to make certain moves. And a lot of people didn't understand that GameStop, technically GameStop was not worth what it was pumped up to be as a company. We're in a pandemic. And so with AMC also was not worth what it was pumped up to be during the hype. And what wasn't being talked about was two things more so. Within that exchange, within this situation, this avalanche that would occur, there were people who were making very good analysis of the situation. They figured out what the Wall Street giants, the hedge funds with all of the money, was doing to make their money and to make their moves. And they simply figured out to say, well, we could counter that position. That was analysis. That wasn't just a bunch of people getting together saying, oh, yay, let's go buy GameStop. Oh, let's go buy AMC and just do whatever. You know, there were some smart people who figured out that if you put a lot of pressure on a given stock or security, that depending on its market capitalization and the amount of shares that are available, if a lot of people begin to buy that particular stock and the price goes up, it has a significant impact on the stock. That's one part. The other part that really wasn't being talked about was the fact that it was hype. It was pump. It was a lot of pump. And in the pump, there's always going to come a dump associated after a pump because people have money that's invested. People have money. They have skin in the game, as they say, right? And all of the pumping was being done to the point that the large Wall Street banks, the big hedge funds, had a bad position. They had a specific position, which I'll expound on later, you know, when you want me to expound that out. But all of the pumping led to some pretty dramatic action, and a lot of people only saw the pump. People who had no idea about finance, let alone finance 101, let alone the stock market or corporate finance. They have no idea how the stock market even works at its basic level. And I think, as you just so keenly pointed out, there was a young man who obviously got caught up in that. And, you know, for him to have taken his life, he must have put up a lot of money. And he didn't get the outcome that he expected that everyone else got. He's supposed to get rich. Everyone's getting rich. We're beating the billionaires. We're kicking their ass. Well, it didn't work out that way for him because that's not the way the game is played. But it was portrayed in a different way. And I think, you know, if I could add a third item, a third leg on that, what wasn't being talked about was really Wall Street bets was manipulating. They were manipulating all the other people to join their cause. Some of those people not understanding what would be the end result of that in terms of what they were doing. And a lot of people ended up getting hurt. And as you, again, pointed out, a person or some people may have even been more, he took his life because of that, you know. So those are the things that weren't being talked about. The media was talking about whether it was whether the retail investors were smart enough to understand, you know, the complexities of the market, Could they pick up a book? Could they go on and get the research that's widely and publicly available for anyone to do because of technology today? Can learn about corporate finance or the stock market or how the SEC governs things or multiple things. Could they go online and learn that information and learn how to apply it? Do they have money to burn, to lose, to risk, to invest, to risk? You know, and that's what the media was spinning, and they were also kind of spinning a narrative where they were mostly on side of the big banks because, you know, let's keep it real. When it comes to news, you can kind of tell which news network from which side gets their bread buttered by what particular segment of the private, of the private sector. You can tell. Fox News, just for example, we know who butters their bread. Conservatives who are, who have money, they want to hear Fox News, just for example, not getting into a Democrat-Republican discussion, but, we know who butters their bread. And sometimes there may be a left-leaning network for a left-leaning cause. And we know who butters their bread. So we know the newscasters and the financial casters taking the sides of the banks. We know who butters their bread and who's getting their toast jammed up. And the narrative that they were spinning, it was more favorable. Maybe the big hedge funds weren't doing anything wrong, and or these actions were hurting the hedge funds. When in reality, what the hedge funds do is just as harmful, but it's all legal in the arena. So to the victor goes the spoils.
Interesting. I did talk to Alonzo Hall, another insurance agent that talked about, me and him had a discussion about this 2 weeks ago, and I had Lylan from the Black Brain Trust talked about it on crypto. I don't know if we went in detail about it. I had to go back to our broadcast, but my thing about all this is what has always been revealed is it's a form of gentleman's club, if I like to call it that only a few people that have a certain income and are paid in are really in the markets like that. Some of us that are smaller that doesn't really have that capital, we can still invest in the stock market, and it's a little easy now because of technology, apps, etc. But when it really boils down, when you're not in that exclusive club, when stuff like this happen, we, the little man, are always the ones holding the bag, and we could lose very big, especially if we don't really make money like that. And that's one thing that I would like to take out of that fiasco. And I never invested in GameStop. I regret I should have, but, like I said, I can't say I'm new to investing because I've dabbled with the stock market a little bit with apps and stuff, but I never took it really seriously, Cyber9, until of 2019 at most. And I kind of pulled out my money that same year. But the point I'm trying to lay out is that people that's not really understand how this game really works, that when they said things are rigged, they're not lying. And it's not necessarily you can't get effed in the system like this, but you got to understand how the game really works and how not to get fuck in other short-term words. Because,
Absolutely.
Because, and mind you, the guy that committed suicide, if y'all not aware, was a young Caucasian male. And I'm not sure if he lost a lot of money, but I think he was expecting that he was going to get rich off that one bet. Like many of us do if we play the game right and we put our ducks in one basket, that we might want to come out on top. But like I said, when they start throwing money into that fund, here's how wicked it gotten, people. The same people that banked on it had to sit there, beg, and borrow extra billions of dollars after people throw money into the pot. So it makes me think, did you have the money from the start, or are you looking for me to give you my money so you could cop it and eventually hope that you shorten the stock. I don't know if that's the right word to say it. Like you want my money put into this so you can take my money to fill it in your pockets. I don't know if that's how the game works, bro. I don't know if you want to clarify that, but that's how I see it.
That's a good entry. So let's use again GameStop. Or actually, you know what? Let's use something else. Let's use Uber, because everybody usually takes an Uber, right?
Excellent.
So,
Uber's a good choice.
Yeah. So Uber, right? So this is how it works from the short seller side. So for those out there who don't know, a person who is a short seller, and actually I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do another courtesy for us, Chaos, because I used to gamble big in the casinos at the crap table, and actually the stock market has a lot in common with a craps table. Now, for those out there that's listening to us on Facebook or wherever, or who's going to pick up this, they're gonna understand it. If you're a true craps player at a casino and you can't keep your ass out the casino, like I used to couldn't. So, in a casino on a craps table, you basically have two sides of the table. You have a do and you have a don't. Okay. And so the people who are on the do side are people who are betting that there's going to be somebody that's going to walk up to that table. They're going to roll the dice, and they're going to roll numbers and keep hitting numbers and roll all night long. And they're going to hit all types of bonuses. They're going to hit 4s, 5s, 6s, 8s, 9s, and 10s, and hard ways, and bonus bets, and super payout bets, and 12s and 2s, and make tons and tons of money, thousands of dollars. People who have seen casinos or who have been in casinos, who have played craps, you know what I'm talking about. And there's always that one person or those few people who they don't say too much, but they're at the table, and they're playing the opposite side of the table. Now, in craps, whenever the action is going, the one number that stops all the action is a 7. And if a 7 comes at the right time or at the wrong time, both ways, people will lose money and the game resets. Anybody who was on the side, betting on numbers, betting on things keep happening, they lose money. The casino or the house wins your money, and anyone who was betting with the house, with the casino, is going to win your money too. The stock market is just like that. In the stock market, that person who is on the don't pass line or the don'ts, therefore the against, that's the short seller. And the way the short seller wins in the stock market casino is that the short seller says, you know what, I see chaos reign. Look at him. Ha. You know what? He's going to bet on Uber because he thinks Uber's great. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bet that Uber goes down. And so what the short seller does is he buys a certain amount of shares of Uber stock. Let's just say he buys them at $25. And he buys 5,000 shares or 100 shares. That's 1,000 shares. He buys 1,000 shares of Uber stock at $25, right? So that's his total investment. You know, he purchases that and he has it and it's in his pocket, right? And so at $25 times 1,000, that's 25 grand that he just spent. Now he borrowed those shares. They're not his. He borrowed them. He's going to have to give them back. But he has them. And Uber is trading. People are trading. And what he wants to happen, he needs for people like you and everyone else to purchase that Uber stock at that same $25. But he needs for them to have a weakened confidence when they see the stock price go down, lower and lower and lower. And he wants to scare you make you afraid, make you less confident that Uber is not going to do so well. And he needs for you to essentially let that stock go down in price to, let's say, $15 or, hell, even $5. That'd be a steal. If he could, if Uber stock, when it goes down to $5, he needs for you to get extremely scared and weak-handed, paper bag hands, as they say. And then he's going to say, you know what? Why are you wasting your time with this stock, Chaos? You should move on to something else. Hey, you know what? There's bigger fish out there in the sea. You know, take this loss, let this go, move on. You don't want to stay in this because, you know, it's not doing good. It's not a good investment. It's, you know, you paid $20 for this and now it's only worth $5. Just sell. Just get rid of it. Oh, yeah, yeah. I guess you're right. You must be the pro. You know, you know everything. Big stock market guy. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and sell and just take the loss and move on. Great. You just did that person a favor, because the way that the short seller makes his money is that he then is like a shark waiting to eat those cheap shares that you just gave up for $5 or for $3 or for $2. Now, he bought 1,000 shares at 25. But imagine if he could get 1,000 more shares at $3, right? If he could get 1,000 more shares at $3, well, that's $3,000 worth of shares. And the way that the short seller makes his money is that he gets 1,000 more shares. If he gets 1,000 more shares at $3, he then says, okay, you know what? I have some shares that I can give back to where I borrowed them from. He doesn't have to pay the money back. He just has to give the shares back. That's all that matters, is he pays back the number of shares that he got. And basically what the calculation is, he gets to keep $25,000 minus $3,000. He gets to keep $22,000 in his pocket. Is how he makes his money, because he spent $25,000 to borrow shares, and then he got some people who were scared when the stock price dropped super low to sell their cheap shares, and he bought those shares. He only bought the shares to have enough shares to cover, as we've been hearing, the shorts got to cover their asses. So he covered his ass with 1,000 more shares at $3 and gave those 1,000 shares back, and he netted $22,000 off of it. Now, do that calculation, that same calculation and that same concept, expand that out into the billions of dollars, and that's how they make their money. However, here's the flip side of that. Just like on that craps table, 7 stops the action. The most that you can lose as a person who walks up to a table and puts his $10 down, when the dice roll a 7, the most you can lose is the most that you paid. So if you paid $10 and a 7 comes, you're thinking Cyber7 is doing good and rolling the dice, and he goes out and loses, hey, you had $10. That's really all you lost. Even if you made some money during the game, your total loss is only the money that you put up. However, in the stock market, the same thing is true. Let's assume that same Uber stock goes from $25 to $30, and from $30 to $50, from $50 to $150. And before we look up, that Uber stock is damn near worth as much as a Microsoft at $220. Now, we're happy because guess what? A stock price can go up to infinity. It can go up to $1 million. It can go up to Bitcoin numbers, right? 47,000. Berkshire Hathaway, $300-something thousand for one damn stock. It can go as high as it can go. There's no limit. However, that short seller Those same 1,000 shares that he bought for $25,000 at $25 a pop, well, he has a time limit that he has to give those shares back also. Oh, yeah. And those same shares that he borrowed, those same 1,000 shares, now let's say that they're worth $250. He just lost. He's out of the game $250,000. But it gets worse because the higher the stock price goes, the more money he has to pay to cover the shares that he has to give back. So if those shares go to $40,000, if they go to Bitcoin prices, well, guess what, my friends out there? Those same 1,000 shares, 40,000 times 1,000 is $40 million. And he has to decide at some point how much higher can this shit go. And if they say Uber's going to go another $50,000, well, guess what? We need to redo our calculation. That's $90,000 now that stock is worth. How many shares did he buy? 1,000. He's out $90 million. And he now has to cover, this is what they call the short squeeze. He is forced to purchase those shares at $90,000 a piece or whatever they cost in order for him to stop losing his ass. If he does not buy back shares to give back that he borrowed, and the share prices continue to go higher and higher and higher, then the short seller will be the one jumping off of the World Trade Center and killing himself. Because if those shares should go to $100,000 a piece, for whatever reason, he has to pay back he has to buy the current price of that share times the amount that he borrowed, and he has to give those back to where he got them from. And that is why they say the short sellers were going crazy, and all of the powers that be in Wall Street had a stick up their ass because the tables turned on them, and their losses as a short seller are unlimited with a capital U. I hope I broke that down.
That was lengthy. That was lengthy, bro. I know people that's going to go back and re-listen to this. I advise people to go back and listen to this because that was a lot of information. And the things that come to my mind when I hear about the shares and how much he has to put back in or what he's betting, it reminds me of the stock options. You familiar with that?
Yeah, I actually made a bunch of money on options. I mean, we're in a short right now, but I'm doing pretty good on options. So options are a little different, but go ahead.
Yeah, the reason why I mentioned that, and we could probably talk about that down the line, that is like this. You're betting that, you want to buy this particular option, right? And then if the price falls into a threshold, you keep that option and a little bit more from what I can remember. It's been a while. But let's say if it exceeds than what you pay for, then you have to buy up those stocks. So that's what comes to my mind first thing. Now, I'm not sure how that played out with them, but the bigger picture of this that was to talk about is they had to go rush and not only borrow money, but they had to go file a complaint and beg the president to the SEC to change. And matter of fact, when they went straight to the president to change the rules, now the people that bought the stock said, now we cannot allow you, but we'll allow you to sell it, but you can't put more money into it.
Well, that wasn't the SEC. That wasn't the SEC that they went to. So here's what they did. So the brokerages, the SEC didn't really say anything. They just kind of sat back and watched. It's like you and me being the rulers in a Roman Colosseum, and we're watching the bloodshed, right? And we're in the Senate, right? You know how the movies like The Gladiator, The emperor and them, they sitting in the Coliseum eating grapes and got women and eating hog legs and shit and whatever. And they're just watching the slaughter in the Coliseum, right? They're not really doing anything. And the only time that they really step in and intervene is when, like, their favorite or, you know, it doesn't go the way that they wanted to go, so they change it to make it happen. Well, the SEC didn't do anything, but the brokerage, Robinhood, did not actually have the money, and this is what people didn't know. They really didn't have the money.
Yeah. Yep.
They didn't have the money, the capitalization that a bigger brokerage has, that they're going to be like, okay, I'm letting them fight. Shit, you know, if they losing, the short seller knows his risk, and he knows what he's facing before he or she does it. That's their problem. That's the rules of the market. All is fair. If he bets against a stock and his stock goes to the moon and beyond, that's on him. He better be smart enough to get out of that position when that happens. However, Robinhood, as we know, had a relationship with a hedge fund, and, you know, they were kind of in bed with them. And in addition to that, Robinhood used an out. They didn't really have the capitalization that allowed for them to allow the bloodshed to continue. And Robinhood not being properly capitalized actually was the saving grace for the hedge funds, because it cost Robinhood so much money to allow for those trades to take place. They didn't have the capital requirements that the market makers were charging them to do it. And so it kind of seemed like Robinhood put the stop in, and, you know, they probably did, or they probably hollered out and says, you know what, here's a way we can get out. We really are undercapitalized, so, hey, we don't have the money. If they raise the capital requirement for us to trigger these trades, we don't have it. And if the company doesn't have it, we can't allow this to go on. We can't accept any more trades. So a smart person who knows that offhand knows they can help their buddies to keep from getting their asses handed to them by saying, hey, on the technicality, we don't have the money to cover all these trades because the market makers are requiring higher amounts of money up front, 100% up front, for us to deliver these stocks. We don't got it. And so we have to limit the trades that are going on. So we have to find a way to relieve pressure on the brain, so to speak. So we'll let you sell, but you can't buy, because selling doesn't cost anything. Selling, we're just paying you. You're just giving up the share. But buying forces the brokerage to have a capital requirement to the market maker to be able to deliver those shares in hand. And that's what they did. So they, you know, and the CEO of Robinhood, he's a douchebag. He lied, because when they asked him, and this is what people need to get, they asked him, do you have, I think Cuomo asked him on Primetime, Cuomo Live, Primetime, CNN, is it a capital problem? Do you have a capital requirement problem? Oh, no, we're fine. But then they borrowed money because they didn't have money to meet the capital requirement. So you just lied to say, well, we don't have money problems, but you do have money problems. And the reason he said that, it was to save face, because people will say, well, damn, I'm not fucking with Robinhood. They don't got enough money for me to put my ass in the game. If something goes wrong, what about my money? They don't have enough money, so guess what? Maybe they can't pay me. Customers will lose confidence, and guess what? They will quit fucking with Robinhood. So he didn't want to come out and say that. He would rather lie about it. That's what happened.
I want to interject for a second. Isn't it ironic? Because I have Robinhood app. I'm not sure if you have it. I have Robinhood for a while now.
Yes,
I did trade. I traded with TD Ameritrade, which I'm still got their account.
Yep.
But the reason I'm mentioning Robinhood isn't it strange, people, that they say you could make unlimited trades and don't get no fee in regards to no commission. What do they call it? To pay with commissions and all stuff. They don't require that. But when this happened and they had to sit there, go and borrow money, it seemed to me that you create a platform just to boost your notoriety by having people download your app for money in there, so it gives a presence that you're a good stock exchange app, which force other apps. I'm not sure every other app follows suit that they're not going to charge you with commissions. I forgot that. I'm not sure. I'm not going to say that. Just let be clear. I'm not giving that answer. But I'm saying it seemed to me that you are create something to make yourself attractive for people that want to invest in stocks by including that.
Of course.
But when shit like this happen and people are questioning your platform and you're not even being transparent, it seemed to me that you are not just only protecting your ass, but you're trying to protect your platform, because if they say, we don't really have money at all like that, so what are you doing with my money? Well, you're not really doing my money. Really, you're doing something else. You're collecting information data to how people are putting money in certain stocks for somebody else to know.
That's right. And
here's my thing. I've been hearing about this lately, but now when you lay this out, it confirms it that the reason why they know what to do with the numbers of the stock by manipulating is they're using certain platforms to how much people are throwing their money in certain pots of the pie. And Robinhood, because they don't give you commissions, what else is making attracted to you in the stock game for not only people that subscribe to your app, but how our information there is used for others so that way they could start fluctuating the numbers. And we never think about that, because now we're giving people insight what we are investing in now, heavily. You get me? But that's all I'm saying.
That's right. You said it. You said it. That's it. They can see. They have level 3 and beyond. You know, if you have an app, you have level 1, level 2 data, which allows you to see, you know, the orders that get put in. So you might be able to see on level. A lot of people use level 2, where you're able to see if there's, you know, 300 people who want to buy Uber for $15. Now, let's say Uber again is $25. You can see 300 people trying to get it for $15. Then you got, you know, 1,000 people trying to get it for, you know, $18.75, right? And then you can see, you know, there's 1,200 people selling it for $19.25, and you got 5,000 people selling it for like $22.50, right? That's level 2 data. You can see those orders. You can look at that and be like, okay, yeah. Then you can see some people trying to short it and sell it for real, trying to buy it for real cheap when it's worth a lot more. Well, you did a very good job of bringing that part in, because if the market makers, I put it this way, if the market makers are connected to the hedge funds and they provide any type of service or client relationship to a brokerage firm, yes, they are in an excellent position to see who's coming in, where they're going, where they're trying to go to ultimately, and what they're paying. They know everything. And so they're able to see your data, my data, everyone's data in terms of where it's going. They know where the flock of gazelles are going to, and they know how fat and juicy or how lean those gazelles are. And they can say, okay, here's what we can do to influence the environment so that the gazelles will go here or that the gazelles will go there. And then we can pounce on them and we can get some of them and we can fill our bellies. It's the same thing. They can know, okay, we can get everybody over here, and when we start to depress this particular stock, some of them are going to get scared and run. And that's what we want. We want them to get scared and run. We need a couple million of these people over here, and when we go to depress this stock, we can account for maybe, say, 30% of these millions of people are going to get scared and run and drop this stock when it starts losing money. And that's what we want. We're counting on 30% of these people to drop this stock like a hot potato when it reaches a certain price. And hell, we've invested billions of dollars of borrowed shares. We'll reap billions more as we get people to panic over here. And then we'll go do the same thing over there to that stock. And we'll short everything until it's worth nothing but dust. And then we'll buy it for the dust that it's worth. And then we'll just give the shares back that we borrowed, and we'll keep the difference, which is billions of dollars. That's how it works.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I tell you people, man, if y'all never invest, and the premise of this broadcast is I don't want people to be afraid of not putting your money in the markets. That's not the end game of this. I want y'all to invest. I want more people, white. Actually, I want more of our people, black people, to invest more into the stock. And the reason why I say this is because we have to take risks if we want to get different outcomes as people. And to be smart enough to take the risk, know your risk tolerance, how much money you should dispose, and how much you expect to gain a return over a period of time, especially if you're just trading stocks, And if you're not a day trader or a Forex trader, which I'm not a Forex trader, much less a day trader. I'm not sure if you deal with Forex, Cyber9, but
I did. I lost money on it, so I just stick with yeah.
Okay. Because I want people to have a clear understanding, or I should say an education of how this game really works. And yes, there are things that's going to be rigged in your favor. Expect it. Should you avoid it? No. Should you try to still go in the game? Yeah. Bring back in, coach. Send back in the field. I want people to have that killer instinct to know what I'm saying. You should not be afraid of anything to do with your money, especially if you want to increase whatever dollar value you have in your pocket and multiply it. Especially if you are working a 9-to-5 or doing some other things. You want to put your ducks in different baskets in the stock market and know how to do it effectively. The thing that you notice with the GameStop thing and this Wall Street / dealing with the trading is that it kind of puts a damper on a lot of people to really take what I like to call how sincere or the integrity of Wall Street. And no one's saying this is a big market, a game that they play to keep, they play to win, So I only could see moving forward for people that's still going to be investing in the stock market is that you should know your risk as well as know how much you could throw away in regard to disposable income, your dollar bill into this market. One thing I did talk about with Lionel, Cyber9, is that I see the potential of cryptocurrency for people to start looking into more now. And as you know, it's constantly growing now. And, I don't want, matter of fact, I could probably show y'all right now if I could go on my phone what the status of the Bitcoin. But it lets you know that a lot of people are not trusting this fiat currency, much as trusting the stock market with this scandal, this fiasco that happened. You get me? I remember one consecrated to that. Go ahead. Yeah, let me finish.
Well,
let me finish. One consecrated feels that, most people are now going to try to go to other markets with their monies instead of dealing with the trade/stock market. I mean, that sounds good, but I tell people many times you should still invest anyway because it's a good potential to make some good returns. Is you got to know how to play the game properly. But you want to say something, 7-9?
Yeah, so this is what I want to give people. I'm going to give a jewel tonight on your show that is going to help a lot of people. And because whether it's crypto, and I've never spoken with Lionel during my time on the Black Brain Trust. He was kind of off doing his own thing, so I never got a chance to really interact with him directly. But I do know he's done a plethora of great work, especially with a lot of the crypto classes that he held over there. But this is what I want to give people. There is a calculation that people need to know when you're doing anything regarding investing. Now, Chaos is right. You don't need to be afraid to invest. Hey, listen, brother, I made 121% return on my investments so far right now. I earned it. And I don't mean luck. Well, some of it is luck, but a lot of it was good picks. I'm up 121%. I won't say on how much money, but I'm up 121% on my investments, period. And my crypto is doing okay too.
Excellent.
It's the same thing. So what I want people to realize is this when you play this back. I'm going to go back. I'm going to use a Bitcoin example, right, real fast. So let's assume that Bitcoin is $20,000. It's $10,000. Bitcoin is $10,000. Now let's assume that Chaos has $1,000 that he wants or that he's willing to invest in Bitcoin, which is $10,000. Chaos has $1,000. Bitcoin is $10,000. The calculation that you need to do to figure out what profit that you may make is Chaos would then take the $10,000, the price of Bitcoin, $10,000, and he's going to divide that by the amount of money that he wants to put in Bitcoin at that $1,000. So for folks out there, when he does that, if Bitcoin is 10,000, when Chaos divides 10,000 by 1,000, he's going to get 10. Or actually, that's a crappy example. I'm gonna give a better example. I was going to correct you. You said 10,000. You should say 1,000 and 10,000. But go on. Listen. Go ahead. That's actually what I want to do. So we're gonna flip it around because I put it up too high. So let's assume that Bitcoin is $1,000. We're gonna just keep it simple. Let's assume Bitcoin is $1,000, and you have $10,000 that you want to invest. Thank you for that. So he's going to divide the price of the thing he wants to get by the amount of money that it costs. So he has $1,000. He has $1,000. He has $10,000, and he wants to divide that $1,000 by 10,000. Okay, my bad. Actually, you know what? My fault. I'm tripping. Let me use a better. Forgive me. Let me use a better example because Bitcoin is so expensive that it's hard to do that extement. So let's do.
Well, can we start small? Let's start when it was pennies on the stock. A decade ago. Let's start with that.
We're gonna start with penny stock. Right.
And let's do the Cyber9. We'll start that and work our way up to now to see how people can invest in now. Is that good?
Yeah, that's good. So
okay.
What people want to do is basically say you have $10,000, right? If you have $10,000, let's assume that at that $10,000 you want to buy, right? You want to buy a stock that's worth $10. Let's assume Bitcoin costs $10. You're going to take that $10,000 that you have, and you're going to divide that by the price of Bitcoin. It's $10, right? That's the easy example, right? 10,000 divided by $10, that's 1,000. That is the amount of shares, people, that you will have of the Bitcoin at $10,000. Okay? You're going to have that. So you're going to have 1,000 shares of Bitcoin at $10 a piece with your $10,000. Now, what you're going to do is that 1,000 shares, let's assume that Bitcoin goes to $30. It goes from $10 to $30. So you're going to take those 1,000 shares and you're going to multiply that 1,000 shares times the price that Bitcoin is, $30. And the result is the amount of money that you have total in the Bitcoin. Now, how much money did you put up? You put up 10,000. You're going to minus that 30,000. By that 10,000, it'll give you 20,000. That's your profit. That's the math that people need to realize. Take the amount of money that you want to buy something, you want to put up to invest. I've got $1,000. I've got, $5,000. And you divide that by how much ever the stock or the crypto costs. The result of that is going to be the amount of shares that you have, and then when that stock or that crypto moves up in price, you're going to multiply the amount of shares that you have times the new price of that stock or that crypto, and it's going to give you an amount of money that you have. And you're going to take that amount of money and you're going to subtract the original amount of money that you put in. That is your profit, which of course you'll pay capital gains taxes on, by the way. But that's the calculation, Chaos. And if people knew that, that's really the game. Other than, understanding the news, how it can affect a stock or some crypto, people's perceptions, government regulations, laws, changes, or unexpected things that can happen, bad and good, like advancements in technology, those things have an impact on the price of a security, whether it's a stock or whether it's cryptocurrency. And those are the things that decide how high something may go for a short time or how low something may go really quickly. And if people understand that math, Chaos, of if I take my $10,000, if I take my $1,000 and I divide it by a stock price, I get a number of shares, and I put that number of shares in my pocket, and I watch that stock price go up, and I multiply those shares in my pocket by the new stock price, that's how much money I'm going to have minus what I put in originally. That will help a whole bunch of people feel much better and much more comfortable and confident about trading because it lets you see what you have to gain and whether it's worth it or not for you to go one way or the other. Nobody ever has broken that math down like that for people, and that's important.
It makes me wonder, most of that have channels and they talk about investment hold for 10 years, like Warren Buffett always reiterates, that I never really think and contemplate, all right, if I have $1,000 in my pocket right now, I want to invest on a certain stock, let's say a crypto, right? And I want to buy a coin that's, let's say, a penny, or let's go back $5, and I throw $10 into that $5 penny. I'm looking at, if my math is right, about like maybe buy something. I don't know. I can't remember the name off the head. Got a calculator right here. But
Bitcoin?
No, I was using Bitcoin as an example. I never invested in Bitcoin. I read it.
I was actually asking because here's the thing, and this again for the people. This is why I'm not. I'll be honest. I don't have a lot of money in Bitcoin because in the beginning I spent more money in casinos and regular stocks. I wasn't a believer in Bitcoin. That's my bad. Whatever. I could have been bought Bitcoin.
I wasn't either. And you know how long ago I knew about Bitcoin? I listened to a broadcast done by two twins by No Ledge Radio. They're the ones that presented on their Blog Talk Radio back in 2011 while it was still penny on
right.
at the time. And remember, no one doesn't know who really created this back in 2008 and was presented 2009 after the financial issues. I think maybe this country or globally, I'm not sure how the global was functioning back in 2008 in regards to the money, but something happened during that year, and all of a sudden this particular person created a digital currency in regards to the dollar at hand. So that's when, going on 2009, this came around, a coin, a digital currency. People say, what is that? That's not money. That's something I can't touch, or I can see maybe, but I can't touch it. And lo and behold, by 2010 came around, we see it started to be, people starting to throw money into it the next year, back in 2010, over a decade ago, right? And at the time, it was just a little penny you could buy off at the time. And usually at the time, if you had money, I'm not sure if people had issues during that time that they had dollars so they could throw into a digital currency. I don't think the banks would recommend it because, they try to scare people to not throw their money in certain institutions because, remember, the banks are the only thing that separates the rich and poor because they control the money. So anytime they find that people are now throwing their money into other institutions to get actual value instead of getting taxation or monitor, because people are not aware of there's a limit when you put certain money in the bank and how much you could draw in a regular bank. You cannot draw $10K out your bank account if you have it without filing. So that right there is control right there. That it is your money, but really it's not your money because you have to report to the Fed how much money you're taking out. They always want to know why you take out this amount of money.
Right. That's
slavery. That's control, people. But with centralized, computerized currency, the banks are no longer the middleman. They're not no longer a third party anymore. And the one thing with banking is that, and you think about now, Cyber9, banks now are trying to come up with their own cryptocurrency to compete now with this digital currency because they don't want to lose complete control. And people don't understand the war of anything else, and this is the final stage of many wars, and y'all hear me first. I talk about many wars that is going to embark on people, not only here but globally, is currency. You get me? Because now they're trying to now, what they're trying to do right now, and this is just me, I'm telling y'all personally, is they're trying to go back to the old days where there was only an upper class, top class, and very much a low class. The middle class was just a creation for the last 70-something years. So when people look at life back at the end of World War II, that was a created entity by the government. Now we have the economic financial strain of America and other countries are not competing, especially with China going to be trying to be the top dollar, that this centralized currency, which was made in, I think, either in Japan or something, might be the one that's going to pose this Western dollar, money, which people are going to still use this dollar for now, but it's only going to have a lifespan for another decade, maybe 20, and I give it maybe 15 years at most. We're using physical currency because right now people are not using it as much because, one, you're not getting much out of your value, and number two is that money as you know it is not really feasible in certain environments. You get me? Even with this coronavirus, that they now trying to find alternate ways for people to spend their money without giving the physical cash. You get me? So we're going to get out paper currency in this country, but it's going to take a while. But you about to say something, Cyber9? And before you say something, I forgot, people. I forgot to give the call number for people that have questions. I apologize. Okay. The call number for tonight's show is 712-770-4160. The access code is 977-194#. I repeat, 712-770-4160. Access code 977-194#. Tonight's subject, Chaos Rain presents the Wall Street Fiasco. Actually, my fault. GameStop and the fiasco. Can Wall Street be trusted? All right, you about to say some, Cyber9? Because I'm checking everybody has their hands up.
Sure. So I'm gonna make it easy, and this is what I was saying about Bitcoin. So just to give everybody perspective, because people are going crazy thinking, should I put my money in Bitcoin? That calculation we did, I did a little calculation, for example. assuming that right now Bitcoin, it's about $47,150, right? So I ran a little calculation for people can understand why you might want to be careful. I'm not saying don't put your money in it, but this is how it goes. So I'm assuming I have $1,000 to invest in Bitcoin right now. 1,000 divided by 47,150, that gives me 0.02. It gives me 0.0212, right? Now let's assume that Bitcoin goes up $30,000, right? From 40 to 77. So 77,150 bucks is 1,636 minus 1,000. You only made $636 at $1,000 investment on Bitcoin at 47,100 something dollars. If it goes up to 77,000, people are going to be thinking, "Oh yeah, I've got thousands of dollars." No, you don't. You only made $636.26 profit at $1,000. Now, I'm going to dial that calculation back for scale. Let's assume you somebody big money, right? Like Chaos Rain. Chaos Rain is big money. And so let's assume you had $15,000 divided by that same $47,150. That gives you 0.31813 shares. Not even a share, right? Now let's assume times Bitcoin went up $20,000. 77,150. That's 24,544 minus the 15,000 you put up. You made $9,500. So I want people to understand with Bitcoin and with that math calculation that I gave you guys to figure out how much money do I make from an investment, depending on how much I put in and depending on how much the stock or the crypto cost. With Bitcoin, the bigger and larger the investment cost, the more money you have to put in to get a large or decent return on your investment. So if you're out there putting $50 into Bitcoin right now, I'm going to just keep it real with you. You're wasting your time. You're not going to make any money. You're not going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars on Bitcoin putting in a few hundred, anything less than 1,000 or less than 5,000 really isn't worth the time, to be honest. That's my opinion based on the math. Now,
Interesting.
People might call me all type of names and say I got it wrong, but again, they don't do the math with people, Chaos. And I'm not saying they don't. For the brothers who do, good for them. I'm telling people because I don't want people to get fucked like people have been getting fucked. And people are getting fucked because people aren't getting the full information. That math I just gave y'all was critical. Bitcoin is $47,000 right now. If Bitcoin goes to $100,000 by the end of the year, please tell me it's not going to be worth you putting in 1,000 measly. It's not going to be worth you putting in $5,000. At that price, you would need for Bitcoin to go to $300,000 for you to make some money. How long is that going to take?
Wow. I did not follow that. It's funny, and I see you, Jay. I'm going to open your line in a second. I've noticed because I have subscribed to a lot of news outlets, digital outlets that I be getting through commercials, emails, et cetera, that deals with trades and stocks. One particular deals with cryptocurrency. I'm not going to say the guy's name. And he tells you to throw a few $100s into, digital currency, Bitcoin, et cetera. But no one ever asks, how much should I really throw in to a coin that is out my price range? No one ever asks this question because we don't do the math. What you have done, you have calculated, gave analysis that if you're going to invest something that has a high value, you better throw in a little bit more to get somewhat of a tangible return. And I respect you for that, Cyber 9. Thank you, brother. Excellent, excellent.
Yes, sir.
So let me open this line. All right. Jay, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello? Jay, no, I opened this line. Jay NYC, you there, brother? I open your line. Caller?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. You have any questions or any comment from my guest, Cyber 9?
Yeah. First of all, I'd say the brother sound like a younger version of Bilal or Jalal, Mandela Khan's boy. Got the same voice.
Okay.
So two things, man. Three things. When you said Bitcoin, I just seen, it was funny when y'all were talking on the news, it flashed that it's close to 50K a coin. So I want to get a couple of things clarified as a person that really don't know much about that, right? One, when you're talking about Bitcoin, we talking about two different situations. Investing in stock of Bitcoin and actually investing in the coin itself where you have it. Is that correct? There's two ways of being able to invest in Bitcoin. You actually buying Bitcoin, let's say if I have 50K, I could buy the Bitcoin itself, the wallet, and I own Bitcoin, the whatever it's worth. And then also there is, that's also on the stock market. Is that correct? Two different things?
No, and thank you for that question. So just real quick, a wallet is basically a place just to store the coin. When you go onto an exchange, there are exchanges that have cryptocurrency where if you invest and say, I want to buy so much of Bitcoin, whatever amount you're going to buy, you buy that amount. If you do it on a cryptocurrency exchange that specializes in cryptocurrencies, like they hold the cryptocurrency on the exchange in the value that you have purchased, and if you have a wallet, you can move that cryptocurrency using the cryptocurrency's address to the location of your wallet, whether it be on a computer or some other place on the internet, and they even have some that you can use as a little USB drive. However, there are exchanges, stock exchanges like Robinhood, that allow you to buy cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, and you can buy it and you can have it. The difference is you don't get to have possession of that Bitcoin that you bought. The stock exchange has it, and generally this is because they keep their crypto in what's called cold storage and hot storage, but they don't give that possession to you to take it away from them. They keep so much of it so that they can just have it to make money off of, if that makes sense. But at cryptocurrency exchange, you can actually purchase that Bitcoin, that crypto, and you can say, okay, I have a place that I can put this away from the cryptocurrency exchange, which it's usually safe, but some people want to put it somewhere where they actually have it in their own pocket, i.e. the wallet. They can do that. Companies that don't have that ability, generally, if you can't take it from the company, it means they really don't have possession of all the coins that they sell.
Okay. Now I got a more better clarification. Thank you for that. Now, Gary said something about that the banks ain't involved. Is that incorrect? Because and I'm just asking, but this is what I'm analyzing. Because in order to get any kind of, let's say, currency, right? You have some money. If you don't have it in crypto automatically, you have some type of electronic money. If you have cash, you have to put it through a banking system in order to get it to be electronic, or where you able to transfer it from a bank account electronically into, let's say, a PayPal, or with the bank card having the information doing transactions through the internet. Now, when you're purchasing a Bitcoin, for the most part, most people are going to buy it digitally online or some way through the internet or something like that. So again, when you're dealing with Bitcoin, is it not correct or incorrect that they are working with the banking system, and up to a couple of years ago, that's why the USA is allowing Bitcoin to be functioning here in the U.S., where you can do transactions because it's tied into some type of banking system that they can track what's going in and what's going out?
That's a good question. And so I think the best way to answer that question is we have to look at what the presiding powers that be, the governments or the banking systems, what they recognize as a allowable store of value. And I wouldn't necessarily say that, they're working with the banks. They're allowing for Bitcoin to have some sustainable value based off trust. What a lot of people don't know, if you were to ask the average person, what is the U.S. dollar based off of, they'll tell you it's based off gold, right? That dollar's tied to gold.
But
what
really
a lot of people don't, right.
Mm-hmm.
But what a lot of people don't know is, I think it was President Nixon. It might have been President Roosevelt, I think it was President Roosevelt.
No. You got to understand. Nixon in 1971 removed the gold, or so I think the gold standard in 1971. And Matt, right now, since we talk about it, it's now roughly 50 years now since we are no longer under the gold reserve in the United States that backs the dollar. As you can see now, what the dollar is now. Yes, go ahead.
No. You did exactly what I needed. A lot of people don't know that. They think that the dollar is still tied to a bunch of gold sitting somewhere, and it's not. It's untethered. So, there's a level of trust, and there's a level of allowance that this has perceived value, because right now Bitcoin is tethered to a dollar, a fiat currency. Okay, just as the dollar was tethered to so many ounces of gold bullion, right? So when the day comes that we as a society, we decide that when I say I want to buy that car from you, you require me to give you something digitally that goes into some account that you have somewhere digitally, that you can sell me that physical item, that Benz, and I can enjoy my Benz and drive it around and burn it out, and you can go into your digital account and you can say, ooh, I want to buy that nice dress for my wife and a ring and a necklace for her, and you can go get those physical items and you can exchange those digital pieces of possession to a jeweler who is going to accept those digital numbers on the screen in exchange for that necklace, those earrings, and that dress for your wife. That is when we will see, I believe, in my opinion, the untethering of this Bitcoin digital currency from a physical dollar that we put in our pocket. You're not going to see people on the corner shooting craps for paper money no more. To break it down to a hood level, if I may, if we think about that, if we think about that concept, and so, right now, those Bitcoins are tethered to, at the end of the day, they're tethered to physical paper dollars being printed off a printing press. And those, at the end of the day, come heck or high water, right now, cash is what? King. Because if something goes wrong, You want to be able to convert that Bitcoin into what? Cash. You don't have anybody that's out there saying, take all my cash and convert it to Bitcoin. That's foolish. At this point it is, because, because the doctor, the plumber, the rent man or the mortgage man or the car dealer or the grocery store owner, he wants paper money in his cash registers. And even if he puts that shit in the bank, if he has $1 billion on paper on that computer screen, what does he want to do? He wants to be able to go to that bank, to that computer screen, and withdraw his money so that he can have possession of it.
Right.
Just like remember the gold run chaos on J.P. Morgan, when people thought that the banks were going crazy and everybody, what did they do in history?
Pull their money out.
Went to the bank, and when the bank didn't have enough gold to give people, what ensued? What's your call name? Chaos.
Chaos order. Chaos.
Yeah.
Ensues. Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead, brother. I just wanted to kind of answer his question in that manner.
No, that's good information. And lastly, there's some people coming up with these thing about investing in gold and these gold cards. Now, these cards are not made out of gold, but they're supposed to be tied into some investment in gold bars or something like that. What do you think about that? Is that something that is certified? Because they even got some machines. I've seen a machine, I think in Florida or something, that you can actually invest and you can take out and stuff like that, and this is investment in gold. Gold bars. What do you think about that?
Okay.
This card that you can access, it's money. I don't know exactly the details on it. That's why I wanted to ask if you ever heard of that.
No, sure. And so here's my opinion again. If I was to give you a gold bar right now, 100% Peruvian pressed gold, if I was to give you a gold bar right now, and that gold bar weighed, I don't know, the gold bar weighed 25 pounds.
Or 10 pounds.
No, 25 pounds.
Okay.
Or 10, but let's just say 25. You know where I'm going with this. How much money do you think you would have if you was to go turn that gold bar in right now? A lot, right?
Right, but no, because of the price.
Well, it depends on the price of the gold itself. How much gold is now worth now? Anybody can know?
Right.
Isn't it like $3? Is it $3K now for gold right now?
Yeah.
For a gram, I think for
a gram, you have 25 pounds of gold. 25 pounds.
I got to do the calculator. Let me do the math for my calculator. Hold on, I got to do the calculator.
And I want to give you the name of one company that I saw. I'm going to see if I can find it in this paper. But, it's just real interesting.
So while he's doing that calculation, right. The reason I used that scenario, I use that analogy, is because it's for those cards, whatever, if those cards are attached in any way, shape, or form to some cost of gold, which is then attached to some dollar amount, then, that would, I guess, in some part determine the valuation of what those cards would be worth. So, I don't know too much about those cards because I don't invest in them, but I can tell you that if the price of those cards are determined in any way, shape, or form by the current cost of gold, and if gold is more expensive or gets more expensive, I am assuming the price of those cards will also be more expensive because of the relationship that they have to gold. And so if gold isn't worth shit, then the value of the card is going to drop because it has a relationship tethered to gold, and gold has a specific relationship right now tethered to our fiat currency for some price, which Chaos is doing a calculation for us.
All right. To give applause for a second, people. The price for gold now, I was Google it. It says, and let me scroll up, make sure. Yeah, it's from February 2014. It said the gold price per ounce is $1,820. Now, gold price per gram is $58.54. So you said, what was the price? Like, how much pounds was it?
No, he has 25 pounds of gold. I gave him a gold bar for 25 pounds.
All right, I'm just trying to calculate 20 pounds. Damn, I can't calculate it. It's like I was with 20, and what I'm doing to calculate this, you might have to help me, Cyber, because my math is.
Well, no. Here's what you would do. So basically, Google's our friend. We'll just say how much is 25 pounds.
I mean, away from your mic. If you can talk a little bit. Close up to my mic. Away from the mic.
My fault. So, okay. So basically what I just did, I just asked Google how much, because the calculation would have to do, you have to convert, you would have to take how much gold is worth an ounce or how much it's worth,
yeah. They're supposed to have a calculator. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but what I did, rather than going through all that, we'll just let Google do the hard work and can convert it. Basically, right now, Google, if I gave our friend that gold bar that's 25 pounds, that gold bar, 25 troy pounds of gold is worth $547,518.
Oh, interesting. Nice. Okay.
I mean, wow. we could have done the math the long way, which is to take how much it cost, what's the current price per ounce, and then convert that to pounds, and then just multiply times 25. But that's what it's worth. So my point is that gold is valuable right now, and that's why it has some sustainable desirability to it. Plus, what people don't get, gentlemen, and for people out there listening, gold is non-corrosive. You can do things with that gold.
Right.
Gold, hence it has a store of value. And the argument that, and this will be a great discussion, I wish Lionel, maybe he'll hear this at some point. I think Lionel will properly say the argument right now is that they're trying to determine how Bitcoin or these digital currencies, how do they satisfy the requirement, among other things, of having a store of value. That's the big thing. When they can figure that out, then that's when this stuff really gets big traction. But gold, in our gold example, to keep where we were with his example and his question, gold is valuable because it's desirable to the eye, it's beautiful, you can melt it down and turn it into something else of the same material. It's non-corrosive, and I want to say some gold, depending on the purity, some gold has antimicrobial properties. That's why they use it in dental work and shit like that. So that gold has value beyond just money. He can do something with that gold to fulfill another purpose, hence it has a level of worth.
Okay. Did I answer the question, Jay?
Yeah. I mean, I was just trying to get him the name of that company or this machine that I saw that deals with this gold. But yeah, I mean, pretty much he answered it. As far as like, it all depends what at the time, how much that gold is worth on the market. Pretty much. So thank you for the info. I'll probably pop up with the name, but that's pretty much it, man. I thank you for your time, man, and bringing some of this information out there to the people.
Most welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Jay. Yeah, that was a very good question, Jay. I appreciate that. Makes me out to think now a lot of things. As we know, with a lot of things that's put into value, gold's going to keep going up. And one thing I heard rumor is that the last president, which he didn't really accomplished because he only did one term, was trying to put some form of value back into this dollar. Because he knows that there's no jobs come back to keep fueling this economy. So they got to find some way to make this dollar have some form of worth. And to be off the gold standard for now 50 years now, and even silver was, eventually led on a couple years after that, back in the 70s, that, we're just only on a life support right now in this country in regards to the value of this dollar. Only thing that's keeping this dollar of any worth is this military. And if any other nation has a military that's going to come up and compete against the United States military, that's when the dollar will really officially collapse. You get me? Because people are not going to take anything that has no worth. I know I had a conversation with Cerulli and Gray about this and talked to their points about military presence, that people don't understand America is good, but is on a time bomb right now. You get me? I know other nations now, especially Asia, that's coming up in regards, they're trying to be the top reserves. And one thing people don't know and have not noticed this, that as the dollar loses more value, everything keeps constantly going up, and people are not aware of. And I tell people many times, if you're working, and depending on your profession, you might be able to shelter yourself from inflation to a degree, but inflation is going to keep creeping. And eventually, now that they are eliminating jobs and we have more of an automated system to replace physical labor to computerized / digitalized / robotic-sized society, that it's going to be hard for the average American to live in this country if they're not up on technology. And, and I tell them many times, tonight was not really focused on the technology side. I really focused on the Wall Street and this fiasco with GameStop. But we have to still include that because what just happened was just, I would say, a big hit for anybody that is not really understand their risk tolerance and their options. You get me? If you're a regular consumer, that you're safe in the consumption lifestyle or living a way of consumption, you are sadly mistaken. What happens when a group of people consumes, they eventually have the potential, and I say potential, to eat themselves out of existence if not careful.
Yeah. No, that's a very good analogy. That's a very good way to to put that. And I mean, I was in a car with an Uber lady just yesterday because I went to get some power strips for my servers in here, and her boss was a short seller, obviously, and she just kind of had like a very nonchalant, it's not for me type of attitude when we were talking about money. And I basically broke short selling down to her real quick. And her mindset was that, well, I'm happy with my little pennies. And that irritated me when she said that. The reason it irritated me is because most people, Chaos, listening out there, and those who are not listening, just everybody in general, their success or their change for the future is just a few clicks away and a few paragraphs away. If they just look up and gain the knowledge to take some type of action, but people are comfortable eating themselves out of existence and leaving their pennies in a jar to do nothing. And when they have eaten their last cracker or their last chip, they say, well, I can go to my penny jar and I can get another box of crackers for 100 pennies. Well, while you were eating that box of crackers and you weren't reading on how to make your jar of pennies a bigger jar of pennies or several jars of pennies by doing something else with those pennies, those 100 pennies will not buy you a box of crackers to eat. they'll buy you one cracker. You know,
Yeah.
and that she had no desire to just understand that money is sitting around. Is no people, if you're listening to me, money sitting around, paper bag money, mattress money, dope boy money, hustle money, green card money, if it is just sitting in one place, it's no good. You might as well burn it or give it away or just spend it. That is the same thing that you are doing with money just sitting there. But if you put that money to work, money does not get tired. It's not going to say I quit. It's just going to keep working and working and working. And you only have to read, figure out. I gave you guys the math on how to calculate your profit. Now, all you have to do is go out there and find an opportunity to stretch your money. And the most important thing is that once you've stretched your money, you might only stretch a few couple dollars. You might stretch a few couple $100. Take your money out of the game and walk away so that you have some more money to go find somewhere else to put it to work. If you keep doing that, people, that little money is going to grow into more money, and it's going to grow into more and more and more. And if it's one thing that, you know, the good Father of creation made was math, and math never tells a lie. Compound interest is real. Figure out how to stretch your money. Take the effort to do something with money that is just sitting around. Put it in a savings account to get a little interest, and then do something else with it. Find better ways to stretch it even more. That's the key to success, people. Money just sitting there in a bank account, even if it gains a little interest, yeah, that's cool, but you can do better than that. Make the effort. That's what people need to hear.
Yes, indeed. All right, I'm going to give the call one more time because I'm going to soon conclude this, see if anybody's had any other questions. The call number for tonight's show is 712-770-4160. The access code is 977-194#. I repeat, 712-770-4160. The access code is 977-194#. Tonight's subject, Chaos Reign presents the GameStop Fiasco. Can Wall Street be trusted? In my before I'd say my thing, cause you have a field in computer science again. What was it, computer science engineering? I forgot your background again.
Actually, my degree is in business administration with some concentration in corporate finance. But my
excellent. Okay.
My occupation is computer science. Basically, I was a tinkerer ever since I was a kid. So that's what led me going down the science path. So, yeah.
Well, this is a general question. This is off topic a little bit while checking people I haven't called in. Because you know me, I sometimes do like little like videos, movies in some way, and I have an issue trying to send like files to certain people. Do you know of any way I can get around that instead of sending like a file for an email? Because I noticed when I was doing videos, I noticed that it is in the gigabytes, kind of big, and I tried to compress it, but it's still kind of big. And certain emails they limit you to like a few millibytes. Is there any way I can get around that? Possibly.
Yeah, I mean, well, Cloud. Because when you asked me that question, my mind went to Dropbox, which is, I mean, if you have Dropbox storage, I mean, the cloud's the most efficient way to get a large file to someone in an email. So let's say you send me an email with some information in it that you want me to review, but the resource is relatively large. You could simply put the resource up in the cloud somewhere, and you would simply just provide a link to that resource in the email so that when the person reads the email, they have an access link specifically to that resource, i.e. Google Drive, i.e., Dropbox. And when they click on it, they're able to, whoever you want to access that resource in that location, they can access it. So you simply will give them a link. So if I wanted to send you a boxing picture or something, but I didn't want to send the actual picture to your phone, I could just have the resource up somewhere in a drive in the cloud somewhere, and you could just click on the link, and the link would take you to where the resource lives. So if it's a video, you could view the video, and there might be the ability to download from that resource location. That's much more efficient.
I see. Is it much faster, or is it the same speed rate going through a cloud or Dropbox?
No. Again, let's assume you have a video, and you have, I don't know, you have a terabyte of Google Drive storage. That's a lot.
Correct.
Actually, let's say you have 10 terabytes of Google Drive storage, which is plenty of space. 10 terabytes. So if you have a 10 terabit storage in the cloud, you can simply just put your movies or your, whatever it is up there in whatever categories or containers that you put them in, and if you're going to provide links to those, you can simply just provide the storage link to that resource as opposed to putting a 1 gigabyte resource inside of an email that has to be sent over the network, because the email application has to crunch down the bits of that 1 gigabyte resource as an attachment. Then it's got to send it over the network. Then when it gets over the network, it's got to, person got to be able to view it inside the protocol. That's extra storage on the email provider to hold those data packets. Why not just have a link that just points the people to where the resource lives, and they can go and visit it as many times as they want? And if they want to download it, they simply download it from the source.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look into that because,
Google Drive. I use Google Drive like that all the time.
Yeah, I was going to use Google Drive. I might start use a cloud possibly. I try to avoid certain things because cloud, they store a lot of information through the net, and I like to keep certain things, but I might have to use that as a resource now if I'm going to go that route.
Well, okay. Yeah. Well, let me hit you with this then. That's what a NAS box is for, network attached storage. So it's like a little. Let's assume that you have a little box, little gaming box, right? A gaming rig that can hold those same 10 terabyte disk, 10 terabytes worth of disk in your house. And if you got internet, well, you can use the NAS box, network attached storage is what that stands for. You can put your videos right there on your NAS box, and you are the cloud. The cloud lives in your house because you can point people, you can give them a link, which will be a network address to that NAS box, and you are essentially serving them the content, i.e. a server. You're serving up what you want them to access by giving them a link to the resource right there in your own home. So it doesn't have to be on a network provider. You can do that in your house. That's what a NAS box is for. That's what most people do. They get a NAS, and if they have content, video, media, whatever, they put it onto that NAS box. They put the NAS box on the network, and then, you know, if they want people to hit it or get served by it, there they go. So
let me type that up. It's called Mask or NAS. What is it? NAS. What's it called?
NAS. N-A-S. Like Nas, but NAS. Network Attached Storage.
NAS box.
Yeah, it's a NAS box.
Okay, let me look that now.
Yeah.
Record collection. Showing some type of. I'm not sure what it's showing me. Something else. May I spell right? NAS, N-A-Z box.
No, N-A-S.
Oh, N-A-S box. Okay.
Yeah. Network Attached Storage. That's what that acronym stands for. NAS.
I see it.
NAS box.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'll have to look into that in my cloud. So, all right. Let me check the board, see if anybody else raised their hand. If not, yeah. Oh, I guess everybody's silent. I guess they're liking the information. They're accepting the information, which is good. And to let you know, Cyber and I was looking through the viewers right now. It looked like one person gave a dislike. I guess somebody hates this show. Not my show, but hate the show and hate this platform I'm on.
Just let you know that they're alive, that's all.
Yeah, let you know. Yeah. But, you know, you got to have your critics. You know, if you're not having no critics, you know, you're not doing something right. Anyway.
Yeah.
But this was an excellent stream. You kind of blew me away, bro, tonight. I mean, I think I've gotten a lot out of this, and I think anybody that goes back to this will get a lot as well, because now you gave us ammunition to really go into, if we're going to tackle markets, how to really deal with the profits and loss properly. So now people know if you're going to throw your money in a bunch of baskets, now you can do an easy calculated analysis. If it goes good, this is how much I'm going to gain. If it goes bad, this is how much I'm going to lose. And say, is it worth it? Now you have to throw your money into the winds. You know what's going to come back. Are you going to get rain or snow? I think you answered that well, including this GameStop Fiasco. And I tell people many times, as going through this, many times for the last two streams on it, I think it's been clear what Wall Street is, what it's going to be, and what it's going to continue to be. The only thing you, as the person that is the consumer of Wall Street and put your money in, you must know your risk tolerance, how much you should go in, and how much you should be expecting you're going to come out. Always be the person on the poker table to be the winning hand. Don't go in there, just throw your money into the table and get that sevens, and then the table wins. There's always that you have to find ways to come out on top. And you have that ability, people. Just have faith in yourself. Always, you know, research as much as possible. If you have to read some books on it, the information is out there on the net. It's much easier now. And, you know, just educate yourself. And, hell, use YouTube as a resource to watch some videos. But, like I said, the resources are out here nonetheless. So I think we can end it on that. We can end it on a note. Any final words? If you have any links so people could find you or anything, you could share it if you want. But, you know, any last words, Cyber and I?
No links. You know, like I tell people, I actually, you know, took a hiatus from YouTube. Every so often, I may peruse Mr. Fantastic's channel or you guys' channel, or, you know, right now, you know, Taz is going at it with Red Supreme, who's a good buddy of mine, Red Supreme, over Cynthia G. But, I mean, to be honest, I the time that I was in YouTube a lot, just as a regular consumer, I do not have I have a channel only for the purpose of it just being there to communicate. So I don't do too much content except for these Nigerian WhatsApp scammers that I may let people know about that are trolling investment forums. But other than that, I was ramping up on some projects and stuff that I was doing, but I actually was also getting ready for the stock market boom. And when I peeled back at the beginning of the year, my goal was very simple: YouTube, hanging out in the black YouTube spaces. I didn't want to do that too much anymore because I'm not a real content creator, but it's very few good content creators out there, such as yourself, Fantastic, and a few other guys and girls that are really worth the time. And a lot of time people spent listening to foolishness and Black YouTube. They could have spent that time in the stock market between December 1st and today and made tons of money, and they missed out. So, I'm, clocking some pretty good figures over here. And I guess, to close out, I'm there. You may see me pop up on a Fantastic panel every so often in the blue moon, if ever. But, right now, if I had to close out with something, it's for people to make the best use of your time and the best use of your resources, which is money. We have a new president. We have a new era that is upon us in terms of technology, opportunity, and events. I repeat, technology, money, and events. Take advantage of that. I think this is going to be a good year for new things to happen and for people to take advantage of new things. And this is going to be a year where things are going to change. And people are going to be able to take advantage of those changes, good and or bad, depending on how they position themselves. And that's really the key, Chaos. People have to be in position to take advantage. So don't be ashamed to put the wolf suit on to take advantage of that meat when you see it, because there's going to come a time when people are going to say, man, that good run that we had, whatever that time was, whether it was 2 years or 4 years, like you gave that analogy with the eat themselves out of existence, there's going to be a time that some of us are going to be wise stewards of time and resources, and we're going to take advantage of this time and these resources in every event that we can get our hands on, because there's going to come a time of, famine and no opportunities, and it's going to be hard. And there's going to be some people who wished that they used the time that they had more wisely, but they didn't, and it's going to cost them something.
I definitely agree. And one last question. Now it just came to me now. You're familiar with Cash App, right? Now Cash App allows you to invest into stocks and Bitcoin. You familiar with that?
Yeah. I'm familiar with Cash App. I have a few people I have a few people in a small little WhatsApp group, and they follow me to give them good stock picks on penny stocks that's blowing up, or Webull stocks, or just stocks in general. And I talk to them in a small WhatsApp group sometimes to give them common fucking sense on how this shit works, to help them make a little few dollars. And for one girl, it helped her a lot. She's at 100%. So yeah, but I use Cash App. That's how people tip me when I want them to tip me. But yeah, I use Cash App. So no, I think right now Cash App knows that offering it's really a business thing, right? It's not really necessarily about crypto. It's really what can we do to attract people to use our service? And as long as we can get people to use our service, we can sell them a little something extra. You go to the store to get your groceries, and what do you see at in the waiting line? Candy bars and soda. You see your favorite candy bars and soda, and your favorite magazines, and your favorite sweatshirt, and you see those headphones and a watch battery and flashlight and iPod in the waiting line, and you buy some extra stuff while you're in the waiting line getting what you normally would get. I think that's what Cash App is doing. They're recognizing from a business attractiveness standpoint that offering these offerings will attract people, and there may be a chance for them to make some additional money in terms of fees or additional product or service offerings while they are attracting those crowds.
Okay. Well, I mean, I have your number here. I mean, I'm not sure how to get into the WhatsApp app. 'Cause I might start back up again sometime in investment, and I just might need like a little assistance, not much, just to get myself, up and running again, if possible. I'm not sure if
Sure.
you.
Well, all knowledge is knowledge.
Okay.
Okay. Either this is what I tell people when you're playing with your money. If you don't know, you don't know. And if you don't know, it's okay to say I don't know, because not everybody's a computer scientist. Not everybody's an investment guru. Not everybody has a mathematics degree or whatever. People. That's the other thing I want to leave people with. People, the year 2021, it's okay to say you don't know, so that you can know. Allow yourselves. I'm gonna say something, man, that Black Panther said when he gave Denzel his flowers. He told Denzel when he was honoring him, he basically said, you can find it on YouTube. He said, now it is time to let him who has watered be watered. People, if you don't know something, allow yourselves to be filled. It's okay. Because if people have a problem with filling you and you ask to be filled with something that you don't, because you don't know, either they want to give it to you or they don't. Now, granted, some things are worth their weight in gold. Some knowledge is worth the price that you have to charge for it. But it's okay to say I don't know something, people. And when you do that, you open yourself up to so much opportunity to be able to do something with it. So all you got to do, Chaos, is just email me. So you got my email. So
I will sure email you. Thank you, Cyber9, for being my guest in this dissertation, this stream. And one thing I would tell people in my closing is this, that always try to be informed as much as possible. Take the information as is. What you do with it is solely up to you. But know this, that what's out here in the media, you can't always trust. You always got to look at for a grain of salt and look between the lines what they're not really saying. Because when this happened, it got coverage to a degree, but it slowly died down. And the reason for that is because they want people to go back to life as normal. But we all know we can't go back to normal because a lot of people have been played. Some people made big on this move, and some people lost heavy. And the result of that, one person committed suicide because they thought that they hit the jackpot. So like I said, people, always take the information as is, and do more for research before you throw your money at anything. And like always, like Chaos tell you, you should invest. Don't be afraid to invest. Your money has to circulate. It has to work in your favor. You got to let it move like water, like everything else. Anything that's stagnant dies. And as you know, like any water that's like a pond or something that is stagnant, you know what it develops? Parasites, mosquitoes, filth, stench. Don't be that filth and stench. Be like water and flow. And that's the message I'm going to leave to y'all. Thank y'all for listening to tonight's stream. Be on the lookout for the next stream. I'd like to thank everybody that listened in and called in. I'm Chaos right here. Until next time, take care and good night.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to another broadcast. I'd like to thank Cyber97 as my guest for tonight's stream. And like always, comment, subscribe, and like this video. You can now follow me on Facebook, Eric Rain, and you also can follow me on Twitter at ChaosRain7. Thank you again for listening. And until next time, let the chaos reign.